Okay, so what I've got here is my tumbler, one of my tumbler canisters. I filled it up with a bunch of jaspers and agate that I found in upstate New York. And what I've done then is I've taken a bunch of these garnet that I found in PA, and they're not gemmy or anything, but they make a really good coarse, very very coarse tumbler medium. So I put the rocks in there that I want to tumble, and then I just put a bunch of this stuff in there just to see how it goes. I'm not going to put any steel grit or anything like that. I'm just going to try tumbling this all together. There's some pieces of quartz in there, just random stuff. Just little, that's a cool little cluster actually. So that could be a pendant. I'll pull that out. Pieces of dravite. That's travite in muscovite schist. So that will tumble off, and there will be a nice little pendant there, and that'll come out good even just with nominal tumbling. But these are the garnets that I'm talking about. They're not gemmy, they're garnets, but they just didn't get very gemmy. Some of them are gemmy on the inside, and so when they tumble down, all this gritty stuff on the outside tumbles the rest of the rocks, and then what you're left with is the gemmy garnet. So here's a piece of dravite. You can see that that's just like, so dravite is black tourmaline, that is garnet included, and it comes out brown and red, and so lots of cool colors, or sometimes it's black. But as you can see, there are a lot of them in there. So they're going to tumble those rocks out, they're going to tumble themselves, and see what we're left with. Here's another batch that have gone through the rough grit so far, and they are now going to the lighter grit. Here's one of these garnets after it has been tumbled around for a while, and all of this kind of scaly grit, like this one, has been tumbled off. So then they just tumble around and bang into the rocks, and eventually maybe this will be a perfectly cool little tumbled garnet. It's really heavy, it's magnetic, and so that's what that looks like. Maybe throw a couple more of these in here, see what we get out of that. And so that's what I'm doing here with this. I have a bucket full of it. I go to the river and I just collect all these garnets and use them to tumble stuff. So, and it works pretty well. You can see this is getting pretty tumbled. This is only the first go around, the first stage. But what the garnets do, especially with things that are pegmatite or have a lot of muscovite schist on them, it bangs all this off, and then you're just left with the crystal, and it starts rounding out the crystal, kind of keeping the general formation that it grew in. You can see that was a twinned kind of growth there, and it just sort of stopped. So that's what I'm doing. And here's a piece of Amazonite that was tumbled, and that's a chunk, nice thick one. But that could be a pendant, that could be just a cool rock that you might like. It's nice and smooth. It's got a nice pretty green color. So that's what I'm doing, and here's a nice little quartz coin from, I didn't cut that, found it just like this, and I just tumbled it, and it's just a nice little thin coin. Lots of cool pieces. A little bit of smoky. So it's already starting to get pretty well tumbled. But taking it to the second stage, and that could potentially be a nice little pendant. So that's that. That is using garnets as tumbler media.